Day 4 of the World Test Championship final is in the books, and Aussies still in a very commanding, strong position there. You'd very much expect them to win, but let's break it down. Started off pretty shaky, to be honest with you. We wanted a pretty good partnership. All we needed was one to get us into that 400 plus type of lead, and it didn't come from Marnus getting out really early. It did come from Mitch Starc and also Alex Carey, who, Alex, 2 great innings in a row, and that's something we're very excited about heading into the Ashes, is that if he can be in a decent amount of form, given, I was very worried about some of the left-handers in this series, or, coming into the Ashes, that Warner had 1 decent innings, Khawaja struggled a little bit, Head had a really good one, so, there was a big tick for Trav, a big tick for Alex Carey as well in this one. So great news for those guys. We got that partnership, and then India put up a good fight. There were a couple of uncharacteristic shots in there, but 3 for 164 gives India a chance to, go for this total. Obviously, a tad under 300, 280 to win in one day's play. It seemed like the pitch overall was pretty solid. Looked like it kind of flattened out a little bit, made it a little bit easier to bat, especially for the Indians with the new ball. It seemed fairly difficult in general, the entirety of the Australian second innings. So I'd imagine that it does get a little bit harder for the Indians, but obviously they have a group of really, really talented batsmen. Kick it off with Rohit Sharma. His stroke play is immense. He's so good. So to get him out was great. And obviously, Kohli in there. Pujara was doing really well until he got out. And then Ajinkya Rahane is in actually a lot of form. So great work from him. This is a massive partnership, Virat and Rahane there. So let's go through the Australian innings to kick this one off, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah, a terrific ball to get Marnus early from Umesh Yadav. Didn't bowl very well at all in the first innings, but much better in this one. So well done, Umesh, on that one. A terrific one, just a little bit of swing away, then seemed a good bounce as well. So there's still a little bit in the pitch, but not as much as there was previously. So he got out early, and that was unfortunate. Cam Green hung around a little bit, looked okay at times, but very, very slow. So did go back into his shell a little bit compared to what happened in the first innings. I think he didn't want that to continue. But the way that he got out, and that few balls before, he ended up leaving one. So how he was playing it, guys, was Jadeja decided to go over the wicket, which means, most of the time with that spin, he's trying to get into the rough there. He had some guys in close, and what he was trying to do is to get him playing in a few of those that are spinning back into the stumps, and getting one to pop up, get an inside edge onto a pad or something like that. So Green's theory there was to try and leave a bunch of them, and then if you saw the wicket, how he got out, he actually did try to leave one. It was probably a little bit too straight, in my opinion, obviously, in the end, but a little bit too straight in general. It just seems that one where if it does turn a decent amount, which it did, if it turns more than that, it just clean bowls him, and it turned a decent enough amount to miss that front pad to then hit his back pad or his hands or whatever it was in the end there, to then roll onto the stump. So that was pretty disappointing, to be honest, with Green, but good to see that he could bat some time and accumulate, because at that time he was batting with Carey, who was doing a great job and scoring fairly quickly. So there's good and bad in that. We know Cam Green bats best when he's fairly positive. He, as I said, in that first innings, he just needs to bring that back just a tad, pick the correct ball, which he would have, he definitely got enough of those type of balls in this 95 balls to be able to get sort of somewhere into the mid 30s, 40s. But he definitely did a job and helped out the Aussie. So definitely can't complain too much, but I just think, there's still some things to work on, but he's so young in his career. It will happen eventually, but we still will be critical of him each and every time. But encouraging, I think. Critical, but encouraging with Cam, because we know the talent that he has out there for sure. Carey and Stark's there. So amazing partnership. Stark out there just playing his shots. Love and life. That was great to see. 41 off the 57 balls there. 7 fours in that. He was great. And then eventually fell. Well, his fun eventually had to stop, didn't it? But that partnership there was massive. So we'll look at when he got out there. And that was at 260. So they went just under 100 in the partnership there. So when he came into bat, Starkey, they were ahead by about 330, 325 there at that point. So very, very important just to not fall on their sword there and lose a couple of quick wickets, because we know that the batting after Stark isn't as good. Stark is pretty solid with his average, and then Pat's had his struggles over the last few years, and then Nathan Lyon can definitely come in and have a cameo, but definitely not needed or wanted in this type of innings here. Needing him to come out and get a 20 or something like that is we want it done by some of the more established batsmen. And thankfully, Alex has been able to do that in both innings. And I think he's really put Aussies in a great position to win, both in that first innings and in building that total of 469 when things started to go a little bit pear-shaped with a bunch of quick wickets, when Smithy and also Travie Head went. He really helped steady the ship, and then he did the exact same thing in this innings here. So to get 66 out of that 270 and to have that 100 partnership was absolutely massive to getting the Aussies in a good position. Starkey was great. Carey, shot making was awesome, and was not out in this one, so didn't play any stupid shots to get out, which was great. Paddy came in, ended up having a bit of a slog when he was 5 or 4 and got caught. But yeah, really a solid, great lead, exactly what you want. Bowling, as I said, Yadav was a little bit better. Jadeja, as we said, were the pick of the bowlers yesterday. And yeah, Shami in there, 2 for 39 off 16.5. Can't really go wrong with there. And Siraj, not as good in this one, but definitely did a job. And looks like Thakur, less overs in this one. Not sure if the arm was hampering him as much, but yeah, he's obviously the 4th or 5th bowler. Yadav had it going in this innings, but he didn't have it in the first. So Thakur bowled a few more in that one. So that's the Aussies innings, and we go to the Indians right now, and obviously 3 for 164. They're, as I said, they're in a solid position. Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma are a very tough opening partnership to bowl to. Very good stroke makers, very, very talented cricketers. We know what Sharma's done for a long career. We know Shubman Gill has that X factor, and they both have great shots. They're very compact, really good at hitting the ball out in front, especially when they're playing on the leg side. That was something I really noticed, and Shubman Gill off the back foot, just hitting those gaps with the strength that he has and the timing to get through for boundaries there was great. So Shub got a couple there before he got out, and Sharma had a lovely couple of partnerships. What we're actually noticing here is that the Indians seem to be getting out a lot in the teens, 20s, and 30s, 40s there. We had Jadeja obviously out for 48, Thakur as well 51, but a bunch of those scores 15, 13, and 2 14s there. And that's happening again. You had Rohit get a 43. They just need that big score, which they haven't been able to get, apart from Rahane in their first one. Gill getting 18, so getting himself in and getting out there. Pujara, the 27. Not good enough, unfortunately, if they want to be able to win this test match. And I think that's something they'll look back on and go, most of our players got in. And what we saw in the Australians' first innings is that once you were able to get in and lock yourself into, getting 50-plus balls, you get big scores. And it was only 2 people that were able to do that. And then Rahane, obviously, with his really good score in their first inning. So it showed that, Jadeja did not look like getting out. Once Thakur got to about 15-20, he didn't really look like he was going to get out after he gave away a few chances. So it shows just that's where they missed out, obviously, so far here. Okay, let's talk about the Cameron Green catch in this one. I've seen that overturned many a time, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. He did catch it, but what they usually argue is if the ball touches any part of the ground afterwards, then it's not out. I think the theory was there that he caught it a fair bit above the ground and his hands were facing down when he caught it. So you can see the ball is caught in his hand. He's not bobbling it. And then it obviously goes and hits the ground. But the theory there could be he's catching it like that and using the ground to make sure that he continues holding it and continues to grasp. So yeah, very controversial one for sure. But yeah, overall an incredible catch. And I think those catches should be taken. Obviously, those ones there, if you slow all of these down, you end up seeing some part of the ball on the ground. I understand those ones where it's, fingers down and, part of the ball touches the ground. That's, the catch hasn't been secured yet. And that's where like, okay, the ball's touched the ground and it's not, to the naked eye, it's a catch. And if you catch it live yourself, you definitely feel like you've got it. But there's definitely some part of ball on the ground. I can understand that. But he's caught the ball first and then gone into the ground. I think those should be given out, which thankfully in this one it was. But I do think that was a massive turning point in this innings, getting Shubman out. He looked very, very solid. We then go on to the second wicket was actually Sharma. Yeah, that's right. 43 off the 60. So him and Pujara were doing a good job there. 1 for 90 at this point. And then his first, false shot in this innings. And he was doing amazing. Great work, and Lyon was able to come around the wicket, spin it, drift it onto off stump, and turning back to middle there, and he's just tried to play that lap sweep there, which I just felt like, again, that type of ball, he's so talented, he doesn't need to play those riskier types of shots, because all it takes is him to miss one of them, and he's out, whereas, if he just continues to play that a little bit straighter or down the ground or somewhere, or defend that one and wait for a better ball. Lyon's good, but he's not going to bowl that type of ball all the time. And that's exactly what, Lyon wants Sharma to do in that situation, is to go across his pads there and expose himself to bolds and LBs, and that's what happened. So I felt like that was a mistake. I understand you could say, oh well, he does that fairly regularly. Yes, but in a test match, you have so much more time to be able to play those types of shots. You don't have to make those decisions in that exact moment at all times. In a one-dayer, in a T20, 100% you have to play that shot and you have to do exactly what you feel at that time. But in a test match, you don't. So I think that was a mistake. And he knows he will know it is as well. He should have done something differently in that moment. He was doing so great in other areas. And then the Pujara one, that's completely out of character for him to have. It was actually a really strong short ball from Paddy. Followed his head there, leant back into it and tried to flay it over the top of the slips. And you could even hear the commentators saying, the Indian commentator saying that was just very uncharacteristic from him. And we know from all the matches that we've watched Pujara play against Australia that is not how he does it. So yeah, very strange one. I understand if he gets it and it's 4 or 6, you're like, oh wow, Pujara is expanding his repertoire, but that's not in his game. And that's what happens there. He was late on that, very late. Only got a little slither on the bottom edge of the bat, and that cooked him there. So Pujara was doing really well, and again, just really showing that he does seem to struggle a little bit in England. I'm not sure what it is there, but those type of shots, he just doesn't play that in Australia. He doesn't play that in India. Yeah, very strange, but great for the Aussies there that Pack could get that wicket. So back-to-back wickets, and this is where it really could have unravelled. And obviously, Kohli comes to the crease, and Rahane, two of their form batsmen at the moment, Kohli being Kohli, and Rahane getting that 89 in the first innings, and they really steadied the ship. And played some great shots. Rahane he's a little bit unorthodox, isn't he, with his his offside cover drives, and he really opens a face and plays them really square compared to a lot of the guys just really driving through the ball hard, which you see Sharma do a lot of the time through the leg and offside there, through mid-wicket and also through covers, and some straight drives in there as well. Rahane's a little bit unorthodox with that, but it works for him, and he's had a nice long career. But yeah, Kohli just looked really strong. Very tactically good as well. There's a few times there that he was pinching some singles and then get them to creep in and he'd pump and pass them dead straight there at mid on. So Kohli was great, Rahane was great. Leaves them in a tough position, obviously. Better than what it could have been, but they know on day 5 you got Lyon. They ended up bowling 11 overs and 1 for 32. So he's in a position where he's looking solid, and I think he will be able to take over and probably take 3 or 4 in total for this innings. You see here that the economy was really strong. They went at 4 and over. So Stark got hit around a bit. He was a little bit wayward, but they seemed to like his pace, and especially Rohit Sharma enjoyed facing him there. Boland doing a great job as always. I think just the boys just need to get that economy rate down a little bit, slow things down a little bit, build some pressure, and that's how they're going to get wickets across 90 overs or more, whatever it's going to be in this day. Yeah, I think Paddy's going to do a solid job, but that's how they're going to get wickets in this one. It doesn't look like it's going to be easy to take them. As I said, it's going to be pressure, and all you need here is to break this partnership. I feel you've got Jadeja to come in, so I think it's Kohli, Rahane, Jadeja. I'm not too keen on Bharat at the moment. I don't think in this type of situation that he will be able to save India or slow the Aussies down from winning too much. He might be able to get you a 20 or 30, but I doubt, and if he does, prove me wrong, amazing. If he goes out and gets 50 or something like that and helps India, then great, but I just don't see it happening. I see it having to come from, 2 of Kohli, Rahane, and Jadeja to score 100 and give them a chance. I really doubt that it's going to be a draw in this one. If Kohli and Rahane come out and hit 100 each, there's a chance that they can, win this one. But otherwise, I think that they lose. And like my prediction in the pre-game, I think there's a good chance that Australia win by 100. So that would leave 180 runs to get them to 345. And I expect them to get out from there. So I hope you enjoyed day 4, guys. Or if you watched the highlights or whatever you did, I hope you enjoyed this video. And can't wait to see the Aussies win tomorrow. Let's hope so anyway.